Hanoi, August 1945. The man who calls himself Ho Chi Minh, he who enlightens, is greeted by delirious crowds when he arrives with his guerrilla forces after Japan's defeat. Smaller crowds greet the French, returning to their colony. Ho proclaims Vietnam's independence in September 1945. The French treat him as the head of an independent state. Years before, this same man left his homeland, became a sailor, a pastry chef in London, a photo retoucher in France, and rented a dress suit and derby hat to petition President Wilson at Versailles in 1919. Ho pleaded for independence for Vietnam. No one listened to him except the French communists. He became a founding member of their party in 1920. Then began his long march to power. Moscow, New York, Berlin, prisons in Hong Kong and China were his way stations. He assumed a dozen different names as he rose in the hierarchy of world communism, but he never lost sight of his main goal, Vietnamese independence. In the summer of 1946, in Napoleon's castle at Fontainebleau, he seeks to obtain from the French full independence for his country. Paris treats the former photo retoucher with full honors, but behind the glittering exteriors lurk the realities of post-war France. A weak government at home and strongly entrenched colonial interests overseas. Until the end, Ho hopes for an agreement. Last-minute talks with French Overseas Minister Marius Moutet fail. The handshake is that of men about to enter the ring. A man who covered the story in Hanoi, today the New Yorker magazine's correspondent in South Vietnam and author of the book The Lost Revolution, Robert Chaplin.
You could say that this was the beginning of what I have described as one of the many lost opportunities in Indochina and Vietnam to force the French into a stronger, more liberal position so that a decent alternative to communism might have been created earlier, or perhaps Ho might have been pre-Tito-fied, if you want to put it that way. This opportunity obtained until, certainly from the end of 1945 until the Indochina War broke out in November, December 1946. But there was a year there during which the French could have certainly tried harder. It was their own fault that they didn't. And myself, I blame the collapse of those negotiations primarily on the French, on the conservative element among the French.